you go to a theme park, you always have different expectations set for each ride. You might set your expectations low for a ride like Cobra's Curse, but decently high for a ride like Maverick. Sometimes, you set your expectations too high for some rides. Maybe you expected it to deliver stronger airtime or more forces. So today I will be counting down my top 10 most disappointing coasters that I have ridden. Remember, just because I'm disappointed by a ride does not mean it's a bad ride. It just didn't live up to my expectations. Some of these rides are in my top 15, so without any further ado, let's get into my top 10 most disappointing coasters that I have ridden. Number 10 is Iron Dragon at Cedar Point. I totally get that this is a family coaster and all, but I was not impressed. The layout is incredibly sluggish and meanders around this forest before going up a second lift hill and into some more slow turns. Again, I totally get it that this is for families, but I always expect to have some fun on family coasters. Cobra's Curse is a perfect example of this. It's smooth, twisty, fun, and most importantly, everyone can enjoy it. But Iron Dragon is a borderline kiddie coaster. It's that boring. At the number 9 spot is Gatekeeper at Cedar Point. This ride exists for one reason and for one reason only: the entrance. This coaster is stupid. It provides the world's best theme park with the world's best entrance, and that's it. But seriously, this ride is perfect for that entrance. Nothing says welcome to the world's best amusement park like a roller coaster integrated into the entrance. But the actual ride sucks. X-Flight is a really fun ride if you get past the restraints, and everyone says that Gatekeeper is even better than X-Flight, so I went in with decent expectations. I knew that it wasn't going to blow my socks off, but I was expecting it to be a pretty decent ride. The drop is really fun, and then the ride just dies. You go through this really slow Immelman, an airtimeless Camelback, and an okay corkscrew. I will say, those zero-G rolls are awesome, and there's a fun dive loop in between them. But then the ride enters its mid-course and dies once more. You go through this really slow helix and into the final brakes. Though I wasn't expecting much, I definitely thought it was going to be better than it actually was. Number 8 is Magnum XL200, another ride at Cedar Point. This ride is dumb, alright? It's dumb. This ride gives no forces, except at the end where there is really strong air, but the restraints are awful. When I rode this ride back in 2018, I remember it being a really fun ride, and at one point my restraint went up a few clicks and I thought I was going to die. But in 2019, they added new padding, but it somehow, someway, made it worse. I don't know how adding padding to the restraints made the restraints so painful, but it did. It doesn't hurt too bad, but that's why it's only at number 8. But this ride is always a walk-on, so it's a good ride to just hop onto to get a quick ride in. But don't have high expectations going in. You get what you pay for. Short lines, but an okay ride. At the number 7 spot is Vertical Velocity at Six Flags Great America. This coaster is so bad. Like, it's so bad. This is my first launch coaster. I went in expecting a lot of intensity, smoothness, and overall fun factor. I was so intimidated by the fact that I would be sitting in the station one second, and then flying at 70 miles an hour the next. I get in the seat, I feel an awesome launch, and then pain. You go up that tower and it slams your head into your restraint when you twist, before falling backwards and feeling that same slam, but now you can't brace for it because you're going backwards. You feel another fun launch and get some weightlessness going up the vertical tower. You get another launch going forward, and again, your head slams into your harness. You fall backward and lose a bit of speed going into the vertical tower the second time and getting some more airtime. You brake a tiny bit more, and your head gets drilled into your restraint once again when you twist. You fall backward and hit the final brakes. This ride makes you feel like your head is in a freaking blender. I went expecting a fun ride, and even though the launch was fun, the twisting vertical tower was awful. 100% would not recommend. Number 6 is SheiKra at Busch Gardens, Tampa. I went in expecting a coaster better than Valravn, and I really enjoyed Valravn, so I had some decently high expectations. I get back row, I feel an amazing drop, and then the ride loses all intensity and fun factor. You go through a forceless Immelman, a stupid turn, one more fun drop, a turn, a straight section, and a dumb helix. I was not impressed. The cherry on top is when a GP said, "That was my favorite." At the number 5 spot is yet another coaster at Cedar Point, Raptor. This coaster is terrible. You go through a fun drop, a forceful loop, an incredible zero-G roll, and then the ride completely dies. You go through an incredibly rough cobra roll, a forceless helix, a dumb drop, a corkscrew that beats your head to a pulp, a street section, another horrific corkscrew, and a fun helix. The thing I wasn't expecting was the roughness. This was so painful. When I first rode this back in 2018, Batman was in my top 3, so I expected a fantastic ride. What I got was a fun 0G roll and a whole lot of roughness. Number 4 is Falcon's Fury at Busch Gardens, Tampa. I know, this isn't a coaster. I don't count this as a credit. I was just disappointed. My channel, I can do what I want. With all that out of the way, let me just say that I was severely disappointed. Any other drop tower gives insane airtime. This one was like, yeah, it was fun, but like, it wasn't the best. With everyone saying that it's the best drop tower in the world, I was pretty disappointed. Also, I have no idea why it's like this, but my home park's 230 foot tall drop tower has much better airtime and it even lasts longer than this 335 foot tall drop tower that has worse airtime and not a sustained airtime when it's over 100 feet taller. I don't hate this ride, I don't. It's a really fun drop tower. It just really disappointed me and lacks the airtime that I was looking for. And number 3 is Millennium Force at Cedar Point. Let me just say that I love this ride. It's fantastic, but it's definitely not the best coaster in the world, or in the park even. I prefer Top Load Dragster, Maverick, and Steel Vengeance. This ride has moments that are dumb. I would go as far as deleting everything from the end of the first big floater hill to the beginning of the second floater hill. Those turns in between are forceless and stupid. The rest of the ride is fine though. This ride is fun, but that middle section is just so unnecessary and pointless. However, I do want to point out something. During my 2019 trip, I got 1.5 days here. The first day was beautiful and sunny, and it was a normal park day with long lines. However, on my second day, it was cloudy and there was a slight drizzle, and with every popular ride in the park with decently long lines, I went to Millie. And marathoning Millennium Force with rain pelting you is an experience like nothing else. You were just lapping this coaster, and with the rain hurting as bad as it did, it was one of those weird times where you're doing something so crazy, and a bit painful, but you don't care because you're having so much fun. I think that experience is why I rate this so highly. If I didn't experience that, this would be much lower in my rankings. At number 2 is Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. I went in thinking that this could be a number 3 coaster, beating out Montu and even Time Traveler, but boy, I was disappointed. This coaster is such a significant rattle, and the Hell Roll is way overhyped. It was such a fun ride, but that rattle really took away from the ride experience. I really liked the subtle theming and the setting among the trees, but the actual ride was underwhelming. Even without the rattle, it's just an average ride. It was not the intense coaster that I was looking for. It was an average old school B&M with a strong rattle and some okay forces. And at the number 1 spot, this shouldn't surprise any of you, it's Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City. What a stupid ride. I went expecting this to be at the very least my number 3 coaster, and walked away thinking that this was my worst favorite coaster. I honestly didn't think that one could have expectations as high as I did going in and being that disappointed. I got a back row ride, a front row ride, and a ride somewhere in the middle, and every single time I rode it, it was awful. When we hit the final brake run, I was in shock. I thought to myself, that's it? That's the coaster everyone's been raving about? That's the coaster Phantom Coasters puts over Fury? That's the ride Taylor puts over rides like Skyrush, I-305, Expedition G-Force, and Terran? You have got to be kidding. Seriously, my expectations were so incredibly high going in, and they were let way down. In general, don't go into this ride expecting much. This whole section will lose me 50 subs, but I don't care. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye.